So we are on our last day of our stretching program. So we've had, I think, probably 12, obviously 12 days of Christmas. And the aim was to give you some ideas of what, let me just turn this computer up a little bit. The aim was to give you some ideas on what you could do from a stretching point of view at home, but also if you're out and about, the difference between passive stretches, active stretches, stretches where you're prepping for sport, or stretches where you're trying to actually improve your flexibility and strength. So hopefully over the last 12 days or so, 2 weeks that we've been running it, you've had a bit of insight into that. So just on a recap point of view, your stretching, if you're wanting to move and stretch to improve your range, is something that you need to do daily. So to actually get better range where you're improving and your range is trying to increase, so you're trying to increase your reach for your hamstrings, or you're trying to increase your reach into a side bend, that's something that you need to do on a daily basis so that the tissues can lengthen and you don't lose too much, and they can lengthen further and you don't lose too much. And so gradually you get that increase in range. And they're the ones that are a bit more either static, so we're holding them, waiting for the tissues to relax, and we stretch a little bit more, wait for the tissues to relax, or we're using that sort of more dynamic hold relax where we're getting that maximum contraction and then allowing the tissues to relax, maximum contraction and then allowing the tissues to relax. So that's the kind of stretching style that you would want to do, excuse me, if you were looking at trying to get your range better, so you want more flexibility. The more dynamic stretching that we were talking about, so when we're doing more sort of dynamic and then into sort of that sports prep, that's sort of more dynamic where we're moving and using our body and actually using muscle force and being sort of ready to play or ready to participate in sport, or, you know, we're sort of just getting ready to start and do some walking or some jogging or whatever it is you might do. That's all more our dynamic stretches. So there are ones that are more sports prep. So there's a definite difference between the two, and there's a definite difference between how you would use them. So like I say, the passive and what have you, they're aimed at not really prepping you for sport. So if you are doing those and then you go out and do some sport, you're liable to damage the tissues because your tissues are in a relaxed state. They're not in a prepped state, where your dynamic stuff, even though it's stretching you and it's moving you, your tissues are working. So they're what we call active stretches, and they're the ones that obviously reach you and put you into your sporting mode. So today I thought what we would do is go, obviously a lot of, sorry, excuse me, I've got a really bad tickle in my throat today. Obviously what we've done on the last few sessions, you've had a couple of classes thrown in there, which has been like a bit of a class. We've done this before, and this is a class that's lasting for 30 minutes or so. But what I wanted to do today is actually just go through some incidental stuff. So it would be some stuff that you might want to do just as you remember. So not having to get a mat out, not having to get down and use a roller, or not having to get yourself sat in a position where you're available. It would be, I happen to have a minute or two here and I'm just moving and stretching because I'm waiting for the kids, or I'm waiting for the kettle, or I'm waiting for something, or, you know, you're watching the news. So that's what we're going to go through today, how to basically bring stretching into your daily routine without making it feel like it's been intrusive in your daily routine. Okay, so the first one, I'm not really sure how you're going to go with keeping an eye, because I'm going to move around a little bit. So let me just see how you go. And if I keep coming back or I lose my head and you can't see me for a little while, then I will apologise. I don't have a film producer or a production engineer for me per se. So if I'm out and about and I'm waiting in the shops, or I'm doing something, or I'm waiting for the kids, you know, you're waiting for them at sport, some of the basic easy ones that we see people do is your calf stretches. Okay, you can do those if you're leaning against something, and we've just got a calf stretch. So what I'm doing is I'm stretching the back of my leg. I take my shoe off. I'm stretching the back of my calf, and I'm holding it. And then I'm going to turn my calf slightly out of the heel, in at the toe, so that I stretch that medial inside step of my calf. You want to make sure that you're parallel to start with, and then we turn the foot out and we're taking the weight forward. Okay, so obviously you can do these in that position. Second one that we can do is just taking it into more a soleus stretch, which is that deeper stretch in the calf. I'm just going to get rid of my shoes first, okay? So stretching it forward, changing the level, and then coming in to stretch the deeper stretch in the calf. So when I'm at the outside leg here, I'm stretching the calf muscle. I turn my heel out, I stretch the inside of the calf. Now if you're somebody who wears orthotics a lot, you tend to walk on the outside of your heels, the inner medial aspect of the calf will be tight, so that will be a nice one for you. And then we take the legs so they're in line, and we have the weight on the back leg, and we bend. This stretch is more the deeper soleus muscle in the calf. So you'll see that it's a little bit different. If you happen to be out and about and you're on a step, you can always stand on the step and drop the heel off. And same again, drop the heel off in an angle. Obviously make sure that the leg doesn't, you're not tipping the box. So that's a nice one to just get that stretch. If you happen to be just moving, just bending the knee, taking the heel back. Again, doesn't need to be this quick, but it gives you an idea that it doesn't have to be hard. Okay. One of the other ones that we might do is just walking and rolling the ankle around in a circle to get some mobility. Again, if you happen to be sat on a chair, you can do the same. Just roll the ankle round in a circle. So they're nice, easy ones to do while we're standing up. Okay. Similar ones that you might do while you're standing up, if you happen to be out and about, is just kneel into a lunge. So we're just taking the body weight, lunging either side. Now you need to be careful that that knee doesn't go too far over the toe. You want it where you're taking the knee here. Now that's going to stretch my inner thigh, so my adductor muscles. It's also going to start stretching my hamstring muscles. And I can do them both together to get that stretch through. And I could also do it where I might do it together and take it into a forward bend to get some glute work. Okay. Adding on from there, I might choose to take my arm up and over to get in some mermaids. We'll take it further and around to come into more a yoga stretch. Okay. So there's heaps of ways that if you are about, or you've been and you're doing something at the beach and you just want to do a quick hamstring stretch, or you've got a bar that you can lean on to get the quad stretch, tail under, make sure my knees are out at the side, and I've got quads, hamstrings, calf. I can even add on shoulder separation at the back of my rhomboids, head stretch behind. I can reach down to the floor and take it to a lunge stretch to make it a little bit more range. And all of those could probably take you a couple of minutes, maybe max. In terms of when would you do those, if you happen to be, I mean, I don't know about you, but I always go back to the washing machine a bit too quick and thinking, yeah, it should be done now and it's still got 30 seconds to go. Well, then in that 30 seconds, pop your hands on the top of the washing machine or in your workbench and stretch. Bend the knee, push in and stretch. I can take my arm up to the ceiling, take it, thread it through, take it up to the ceiling, reach and thread it through. But again, I've used my time, and it's incidental stretching, because this is where you end up getting a bit more flexible. Remember what we're talking about as well, the body's made to move. So even if we're hanging up washing and we're doing stuff, you know, packing shelves or getting things in, we could use that as a bend and then stretch. We could use it as a bend and then stretch, so that we're actually using it during the day. Or we could reach where we've got something here and actually use that to reach and twist. Obviously, if you have back issues and disc issues, there's certain things that we might advise you shouldn't really be doing. But at the end of the day, it's stuff we do every day. We're reaching down to put pants on and socks and shoes on. It might be that when you put your socks and shoes on, you put them up on the chair and you use that to stretch your leg. When you put your socks on and you tied your shoes, you might just extend the leg to do a hamstring stretch. You're doing it anyway, so you may as well do a stretch at the same time. Stretch, take the shoe, put your feet in, extend, return, do an extra stretch. Same on the other leg, taking it up and taking it into a hip stretch. So getting a hip stretch and a leg stretch on the other side, and taking it into a hamstring stretch and a stretch here. And again, I've done it, but I'm already doing something like putting on my sock, depending on how you do that. If you happen to be a sitter, to put on your shoes and your clothes, you can have it up here. You've got a stretch, take it across the leg, you've got your glute. Reach it out in front, you've got your hamstring. So again, it doesn't have to be hard. I mean, a lot of the time, I think we're all guilty, where we want results, we want to get mobile, we want to be fitter, we want to lose weight, we want to get stronger, we want to get more mobile, but we want it like that, and we don't want to put in any effort. So if you happen to be one of those, which is a bit like me, I don't want to have to put in the effort to do it and commit time to doing it because that's intrusive in my day, then doing things like this is maybe going to help you. Incidentals for your pecs. So if we go to your upper body, you happen to have a pole or a door frame, we can stretch this way. We can have the arm and we can walk through. We've done all of these throughout the process. The ones I didn't show you though was a banana stretch when you're leaning away. So my feet are close in, I'm leaning away and I'm reaching. And then if I look down towards my heels, I'm getting more of a stretch. So if I turn backwards so you can see, I'm leaning away and I'm getting a reach. And I can also do it with my leg crossed. I get more of an ITB or more of an outside lateral stretch on my leg in front, depending on what muscles I feel are tight. Okay. Sometimes we have clients that like it in that position there because they've got that reach. And then we can scoop, so we make like a little hump, or we can extend, we can scoop and curl. So if you can work out where you're tight, work out where it is that you would like the tissues to work from. I'll just move you a little bit now so I'm not scrunched out. Then it makes it easier for us to know where we need to work. Hands and wrists could be something very simple, changing direction. You'll see swimmers, and it's mainly because my kids are swimmers, so I see them doing it all the time, where we've got big arm circles the other way, taking it backwards, and then if you can, opposite directions, taking it where you come up through center, change directions, rotate around. It doesn't have to be hard. Bending the knees and big body circles up and around, and we coming up and around and using the body to reach and change. So hopefully that's given you a few ideas about how to make your stretches become a little bit more user-friendly for you. And I know certainly from the clients that we have, the ones that do get the best results are the ones who are doing incidental stretching, or incidental exercise, where instead of just saying, physio told me to do it twice a day for 30 seconds and I'm doing this, because then the rest of the time is, what are you doing? What are you doing the rest of the time that might help? If you then have, look, I need to stretch my hamstring, or I need to stretch, say, my lats. So every time I'm on the phone, if I'm having to talk on the phone, I do a quick stretch. And then you've done 50 a day, where it's just been reaching, or, you know, you put your shirt on and you use that reach to get that stretch as well, instead of, I'm just doing my stretch at the end of the day, I'm doing my stretch at the beginning of the day. So getting that muscle memory, the tissues being able to accommodate, the tissues realizing, actually, I do reach up there, and now I'm actually able to hold up there because I've got more range, and I'm now working up there in a better range, is going to be better than you doing that once a day. So the moral of the story is that we're all very different. We will either be somebody who goes, yep, give it to me, I want to do 20, 30 minutes a day, and I'm going to go through everything, and I'm going to make sure I do a really good job of it, and that's how I'm going to work. And then we have the rest of us who might go, yeah, I've got to do them. I haven't done them. The last time I did them was a week ago. If you fall into that category, incidental stretches are going to be your go-to, because you're not going to remember. And I don't even think that we can't be bothered. I think it's more that life gets busy and we get intrusive, and if it's something that you begrudge doing and it's an effort to do it, you're not going to do it well, and you're better off doing little quick things that you can remember. Movies on, commercial breaks are on, let's stretch. Like how I've been sat for a while, instead of I'm going to stand up and take the phone call and sit down, and then we have a much better response to the body moving. So just moving, even just moving and standing on the spot, just getting, you know, the body going, just shaking the arms up or coming down, just having a little bit of a quick work through the legs, just taking a couple of squats. You might find breaks up your daily routine a little bit, so you don't feel as sore, you don't feel as tight, or you don't feel as restrictive. And moving is good. Moving makes us feel good. Moving makes us feel like we've got a bit more energy, especially if you move something around sort of that middle back, middle of your chest. It's sort of like there's a big sympathetic nervous system there, or a big sympathetic nervous bundle, and if you can move anything around that middle of the chest, it does feel good, and it sends out the endorphins to the body, which is why a lot of yoga classes will always finish with something that moves you around centrally, because you're going away with the buzz that feels good, you're going away feeling good. You know, a lot of Pilates classes might end with mermaids, because same reason, you're actually mobilizing through the chest, and you're giving the chest that feeling that you're getting that endorphin release, so again you walk away feeling good. So something like that for the end of the afternoon, if you're getting a bit fatigued, standing, getting a bit of blood circulation, and then reaching and working through. And even I think my t-shirt says just breathe, just breathing. Take a breath in, just expand the chest. Anything that just gives you a little bit of air, a bit of oxygen, a bit of stretch will help. So if you've been here for the 12 days, thank you so much for joining me. It's always fun doing some stuff. We do get a little bit unsure what kind of information you're after, a little bit unsure like how deep you want us to go into things, or how basic to keep it. And I've kept this fairly basic in terms of keeping it simple and easy to follow. You know, if you want to go through all weird and wonderful stuff where you're doing, you know, legs going one way, body going the other way, and you've got other things going on and all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff because you like it and it works for you, you do what floats your boat. If you've got anything that you would like us to go through, especially for those of you who are in our private Facebook group, then feel free to drop me a comment, or feel free to send me an email to info@thecoreexpert.com, and we'll definitely try to accommodate it. In the meantime, thank you so much, and thanks for joining me for the past 12 days. If you're watching this and you're happening to have been with us live, it's Christmas next week, so have a good one, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.